the RationalMister.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another show. I mean, it's another crazy week. I feel like every week I'm like, oh, this is the most crazy week. This week was crazy. This week was... I think we can conclude that at least under the Trump presidency, nothing is boring. I'll give him that. There's nothing boring. Hello, Raphael. Hello. How are you? Welcome for being the first person here. Because you're the first, you can ask me any question you want. You get first dibs on questions. Where do we want to start today, guys? We can either talk about crypto or stocks. Maybe I just start with stocks. I always kind of start with stocks. My computer's running a little slow. Let me turn on max performance mode. I can feel a little lag here. Let's fix that. 1 second. I don't want any performance issues. Got a lot going on. Device settings. All right, full speed. There we go. All right, I can feel it. It's ramping up, overclocking. Hello, Elon. I don't know how to pronounce that. Elon. Hello, regardless. All right. Look, everybody's scared right now, right? The fear and greed is, I'm going to show you guys. I think you know. There's our live stream, right? Okay. Oh, no data returned. Let's see if we can fix that. So, you know, fear is at 24. We've been in fear for quite a while. This is pretty much the longest period we've been in the fear mode. And I'm seeing a lot of talk of, you know, the bear is here, bull's over, everyone's bearish. A lot of bears in the TRI chat room, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. If you look at a weekly chart, like let's look at a weekly chart on ES, okay, and a weekly chart on Bitcoin. Actually, I don't want to use ES. I want to do SPX. Okay. So again, this red line here was my topping signal. We exceeded that red line, and now we're kind of in the process of topping, right? This does not look great. And I showed you the monthly before that we have. See my 4.618 label? Well, we had a TD8 and 9 starting to print. What happened to that? Maybe that was on Bitcoin. Was that on Bitcoin? Wait a second. Yeah, so Bitcoin had a 7 come in on the monthly. I thought we'd get an 8 and a 9 with a push higher, but we actually rolled over before that could happen. But if we look at a monthly chart, right? So this was a fake out, but this looks like the real breakdown. I mean, I can even do it here. Unless this can really rebound, Bitcoin does not look good on a monthly chart. It just doesn't. So I can understand why a lot of traders on higher time frames are bearish on Bitcoin. I mean, it doesn't look good. It doesn't. We've got momentum weekly, you know, way to the downside here, right here, way to the downside. We've been rejecting from this uptrend. You can see this major trend line that's been hanging on for a very long time. Can even draw all the way to the top. We perfectly tagged the top of this trend line. I'm actually gonna, let me fix this. I want this on more time frames. I want to lock it. Yeah, okay. So I want that locked there. This doesn't look amazing. Now, we could do this, right? And we could say, okay, well, it didn't break down from the 45 RSI. Maybe it's still okay. And to be fair, that's a possibility. We've got divergence coming in on the MACD. RSI doesn't look great, but the 8 hour is kind of putting in some bottoming signals, 4 hour especially. Look at this, right? So, you know, at least in the short term bottom. As usual, I'm looking to long, right? I'm actually in longs already, as I posted in the chat. I got into longs down here at 99, whatever. I did get stopped out of that up here. I raised my stop and I got stopped out. I re-entered. Where did I re-enter? Hold on, let me tell you. 101,300. So I re-entered just here on the start of this rebound on this 1 hour cross to get back in, because this looks like a potential short-term bullish divergence. But I don't want to discount the fact that the weekly doesn't look great. The monthly is disaster territory. Really what we're just hoping for is one last push higher, and that's what brings me back to the S&P. Pumping. Yeah, MSTR and coin. We'll get into those. Like Elon Musk, but Elon. Okay, got it. Elon. I'm also in a BTC long at the moment, trying to catch that bounce before I can scale into long-term shorts. Yeah, I think that's kind of the play. Really, it depends on the stock market. That's why we've got to watch this to see what's happening here. Is this over, or do we have some more time? That's really the big question. And you can see just by going off my trend line I drew a while ago here, that we've kind of rolled over and failed. We can even adjust it, right? So we could kind of do something like this and give ourselves a bit of a different viewpoint from what I had before, a little bit less aggressive, that lines up better with, yeah, so that actually lines up very well. And that's basically our zone. I'm actually going to lock and save that. It looks great. This is kind of our last line in the sand. Like if this breaks down, you've really got problems. 66.50. You don't want to see a breakdown from there. But I don't think we're going to get that low. It looks like, just like Bitcoin. So this was the breakout, retest, rollover, and we could come and retest the underside of this. This would be like a quintessential long signal for me. I'd like to see a TD7 or something come in here. So we're a little bit early on this. But we did tag the midpoint, my trend heuristic. As long as we stay above that, it's pretty bullish. You can see how this has worked as a bounce point in the past. Look at how well this uptrend line is held. Tag. Rejections from the midpoint. Parallel channels work really well. I highly recommend them on higher time frames. Hello, Lori. Nice to see you. Very, very well on these higher time frames. I like to use these parallel channels. Highly recommend. And you can see how this has been extremely well respected. Let's look at options really quick. The expiry. Oh, by the way, I posted about this in my Discord, but this is a very good signal. Okay, when you have price here and then price making a new lower low here, but liquidations did not make a new low, and you've got this divergence. This shows that there's not that many people left to liquidate. I mean, we could crash to 50K, and of course it would be bigger, right? That this would no longer work. But generally, when you get these kind of divergent moves, that's when price stops going down and it reverses. You can see it here. We had huge liquidations, then you had slightly lower price action, smaller liquidation, and then we went higher. Okay, that's the best indication I can give you. Probably can use here too. So this is more of a range area. Usually you want to see it in a reversal from a rally, and then that's your final kind of reversal point. So something like this, like you had a crash here, and then you had the last low here, and you have that divergence in the liquidation showing an exhaustion. There's nobody else to liquidate. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here, right? You can see that this whole area is the biggest liquidations we've had since basically February, right? Way bigger, huge, absolutely huge. I don't think that marks a market bottom. I just don't see it. Even though RSI doesn't look great. Yeah, Michael, I don't disagree with you. So one problem is that we will eventually roll over. However, and I've got NVIDIA in here for a reason. I've got NVIDIA in the title for a reason, because I want to get to that topic. So I'm going to wrap up with the S&P, and then we'll go talk about things like NVIDIA. But right now, we've got a divergent weekly top. So they need to push this up on the weekly chart to kind of save this. This can go on for a long time. See this over here? See how long we kept going up into 2024 before we finally broke down? You really need to see a breakdown through the 50 on the RSI on the weekly chart to get really, really bullish or bearish. And we're just not there yet. I want to see a breakdown from this parallel channel. When that happens, then it's over. Until then, I've got to lean a bit bullish. All right, so let's look at expiry here. Max pain is 6,800, and currently we're at 6,730, 67, around 6,700. Yeah. So we're basically here. This is our wall, and we want to close here. Now it's not a lot of calls, so I don't know how much this is going to impact things. Let's look going into the end of the month. I think that's the 21st. 21st would be that Friday. Yeah. So you can see a lot more options here. Look at how many puts. Look at that. They're not going to, I don't think they're going to let these puts get filled. There's a big wall. I don't see us going lower than 6,600. I just don't, there's nobody in calls. I don't know how this can, I don't think we're going to get a crash. That's what I'm saying. Like, people are panicking out there, and I don't see any indication for why there would be a crash to pay out all these options. Let's look at December. Yeah, lower time frames don't look that bad. That's why it will probably reverse. December 18th. The 18th would be the most popular. 19th. Yeah, so 19th, you can see 19th has a lot of options. 680 and 7,000. I think we can go up to 7,000, and that's kind of our wall. We're going to play in this zone. 650 to 7,000. This is going to be your playground. Essentially from here, right at the bottom of my parallel channel, and right up here at the top of my parallel channel. Look at how that works out. And see, we'll probably bounce like that, get rejected, do something, and then eventually go up to here. And then that'll be our rejection point, and that'll be the final top. And then you roll over, and then depending on how the options play out, and then we'll eventually, and this will probably happen in the new year somewhere here. That's what I could see happening. I think everyone knows that November and December, seasonality-wise, are the most bullish of the whole year. Christmas rally, blah, blah, blah. So that backs up part of my thesis. And that's kind of why I'm leaning the way I am. I think I don't like that this broke down. It's not a good thing. But at the same time, this weekly chart doesn't look like it's ready for game over. We've got 4 potential divergences. You can see the MACD divergence here. RSI is not exactly agreeing, but on a 4-hour, this is our 4-hour downtrend. Let me fix that a little bit. Once this crosses, I mean, we're going to get a pretty decent sized move, right? So here's look at this. Okay, so that points to 120, and I bet if I do that and I flip it, 78.6, our selling level, lines up with 120. I can bet that we're going to go up here and tag that level. That's at least we'll get to there. That's what I'm seeing. That's what this is a perfect W formation. It's almost too perfect. I don't like it because it's so perfect. But this is what we could see. And I love when these targets line up. So 120 market, that's going to be a big level. I'm going to actually, we're gonna mark it as a big level. Yeah, and we'll make it a solid line. Okay, that's our big level there. And on the way up, you're going to run into resistance. So assuming this is the bottom, we're going to run right up to here, this 107K, which lines up with this rejection level. And you'll reject, and you might go back down to here, 104K, reject again, and then eventually push through. You'll run into issues here with the 30-day VWAP and all this stuff. You'll reject, probably run back down to these levels, maybe even go a bit below, and then you'll blast off up here, something like that. And then that's where we end up at 120K, and then we'll see what happens here. You know, the hope is we sit here, oscillate a bit, and then we blast off right up to 8.77. That's your final target where I expect Bitcoin to go before everything kind of explodes. So that's what I'm thinking on the bull side. On the bear side, I really don't have a bear case right now. I just don't. I could look at this and say, yeah, this could happen, that could happen, but I just don't see it. This needs to not break down. I do like this weekly uptrend chart here. This plus this right there. It's your like double support levels on a weekly chart. That looks decent to me. So I'm gonna actually save these lines on the higher time frame. Visibility, current interval and above. Current interval and above, just like that. Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. Okay. And again, we're at fear. We have all those things going on. The key is kind of just timing your entry. I don't think we're going to get 90,000. We're not getting these levels down here. There's too many people that think it's going to happen. I don't like looking at liquidation data, but we can, CoinGlass. So we've got this bull market peak signal. Not a single one was hit. Liquidation map. So on this liquidation map, we only have liquidations down to like 99,000. Even you go to like a 30. There's really nothing down here. There's nothing at 93K. Like even over here, exchange liquidation 99. 99,000 is as low as it goes. But on the upside, it's massive, right? Even up to 115, 3.3 billion in liquidations. Downside is like 500 million. Who even cares, right? 500 million. It's nothing down here. 99,000 is all there is. If they really want to liquidate people, you just go down a little. But look at this. All they have to do is go up to 104 in the short term, and you've got 400 million in liquidations, while on the downside there's only 200. Very easy to push up through this. See on the exchange here, exchange liquidations, 1.5 versus, oh, they have 1 down to about 99,000. You know, they could take this one out, but I'm leaning towards this. I just don't see it. And then on Hyperliquid, look at this, up to 111K. They have really big potential liquidations. I don't want to get confused by talking about Ethereum. Also, you've got interesting liquidations on the downside for Ethereum. That's a little bit of a different story, but it's going to follow. It's going to follow Bitcoin. What is this hybrid liquidation map? Hyperliquid. Liquidation heat map. I prefer heat map number 2 actually. So you can see we kind of took out the liquidations here in the past 24 hours. I prefer looking at the symbol. Yeah, so we go to like 1 week. Again, I don't like to spend too much time on this because I really don't think it's that useful, but you can see there's really, the point is to show there's not that much left on the downside. An argument could be made that there could be a sweep at 99K. But looking at these lower time frame charts, I just don't see it. You'd have to get a reversal from basically this level, and we just go down here and then we do that. So we're either going to go up from here, or we're going to take one last peak down here around 99,000, and then we're going to go up. I don't see any reason to go lower. Hopefully that helps with the crypto case, and extract this and apply it to the rest of the coins. It's the same thing. Apply it to Ethereum, apply it to whatever you like. You can see Ethereum's even crossing over now, right? 4-hour cross. If this confirms, this whole thing should rocket, right? This is all you need. And then you've got your nice W now right there. And that points to, at least in the short term, a move up to 4,200, 4,300, right? So that's, how much is that? 30% up, pretty big move. I'd be happy with that. That's what I'm seeing right now. Okay, so that's Ethereum and Bitcoin. I've kind of bounced around a bit. I mentioned NVIDIA in the stream, so I should probably talk about NVIDIA. So NVIDIA's got some problems, right? There's things coming out that don't sound great. Weekly has massive divergence. Things look like they're breaking down. We've got a TD7 on the weekly. Really doesn't look great. Now on a daily chart, this was a nice pullback area. We're breaking down just below it, filled this gap right here. If you're bullish on NVIDIA, this is actually where you buy. This area is going to have large support, and I think that, you know, if we don't bounce here, everything's like screwed. So if this happens and this breaks down, all the analysis I did on everything else basically goes to it's over. It fails completely, because NVIDIA is like 20% of the market at this point. It's just massive. What you want to see is this reversal, and then we run all the way up to here to 260. That's honestly what you want to see. That doesn't work. I don't know if that can happen. It seems crazy to me. But they need to save NVIDIA to save this market. So that it's just too big to fail. But as of right now, it's in a downtrend. I don't see any reversal signals here. I'm looking at a 4-hour, nothing. Maybe on a 1-hour, you've got a little bit. I would wait for this to cross over. I'm even going to set an alert on the RSI. But the main point is that you can't have a market rally if NVIDIA is crashing. That's the thing, and that's why I think that's kind of what I'm seeing. Hopefully that makes sense on NVIDIA. I don't know how much deeper you guys want me to go with NVIDIA. I know most of the interest is in crypto. We could look at like this consolidation area right here, especially. So this is the only real clear W, but this was also a nice consolidation zone, and we could say that's kind of your something like this, and you could say that this was your area. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint it. Normally you get like levels and things stop at levels. So this would have been like the 1.618, and then we never really tagged that 4.669. But in reality, I like that this would be considered the range. Kind of like that would be your range, and that actually lines up well. So you tag this 1.618, get rejected. You rally again, you tag this 2.618, and now we're rejected again hard, and then we get the final rally, which pushes us up to this 4.669, 240 level, which is short of that 8.77, but I think it makes more sense. And that would then cause the Bitcoin rally that I talked about. I don't see how it just can't happen without NVIDIA. Okay, so Tesla, I also mentioned Tesla. Tesla's doing well, right? Elon's pay package was approved. Elon wins again. And we get to see, can this stock break out of this channel? And that's where, you know, something like this comes in handy, where it looks like it's trying very hard to break out, but there's been no breakout yet. So you want to see RSI on the other side of this trend line, and you buy here. Right now, we're not there yet. That's what I'm looking at with Tesla. We can go to like a 4-hour. Same thing. We're just kind of, right? You're just kind of stuck here. But on the 4-hour, it looks like it's crossed over already and trying to W out. I'm gonna get rid of this. But very choppy chart. You know, definitely not making it easy to stay in longs. But this is what happens. You sit at a level, and then you basically teleport to the next level. And that next level is up here at 570, 580 to 590. Essentially is what we're looking at with this range. And you can see we tagged that 1.618 just barely right here. But that's the move you want to see. So upside on Tesla from here is about 32%. I think there's better stocks and better names out there, but it's decent for now. Let's talk about some crypto stuff that really fell off and I think could be decent buys. So Circle, this died. like really died. Okay, you're down here at $100 now, below all the lows. IPO was at like $70. You're essentially back to that. And on the 1 hour, you've crossed over bullishly and you're retesting that bottom with a TD8 on the 1 hour. On the daily, you don't have anything yet. It looks like a disaster. 4 hours, same thing. Nothing really. But on that 1 hour, you're getting that crossover. Actually, on the 4 hour, you even got it a little bit. But really, it's the 1 hour that I'm liking. And I think you can start to see and form a bullish thesis from that. You might be early. Maybe go in with a smaller size. But this is pulled back a lot. This is a big pullback. But there's nothing on the daily or the weekly that makes me want to own this just yet. So I would kind of wait for some consolidation, but it's something I thought I would mention. You know, coin obviously too is way down. We had this push up and then we rolled over too soon, in my opinion. We're at the 50% level and 365-day VWAP. Again, nothing on the daily. No TD8 or 9 yet. Wait, it's still loading. Maybe it loads, but I don't think so. Loading. Nope, nothing. You can go to a lower time frame. So 4 hours still nothing. I'd like to see it take out the range low right here at like 289 and then reverse, something like that. But you can see how this is sold off a lot just from October 29th to now. It's down 21%. Massive rug pull. But something to keep an eye on. Another one, Can, which is basically a you know, almost like a leverage crypto trade. This one on a 4 hour is crossing over on the downside. And I would love to see a move. My eventual target for this was almost $3. If we look at an ABCD here, you know, you get up to that 250 area. You can see that 250 to 290. This could be a nice trade. And the 4 hours already crossed over. So I've bought quite a lot of this. I had it before. I sold a bunch up here, and now I've started rebuying. I did start at around $1.40, so I am underwater a bit, and I'm buying more down here in expectation that crypto will rebound, and this could give me a way to easily earn, you know, get a nice double, 120, 130% in Stockland. So I do like this one, and I'm keeping an eye on it. Something maybe to keep in mind and stay interested with. You could even see if this can rebound, you get like a W here. Like that, right? And then that points up to $2 again. Although we wanna see higher around 240, 250 area. I could see that happening, but you could see the reversal coming in on this. I like it. So there's a couple crypto names showing you how they're all really oversold and look like pure crap. But maybe this is the time to buy. Take a few trades at the lows. I don't want to talk about things after they've rallied. This is when you talk about it and when it's best to consider buying. Okay, that's Stockland. I want to go back into crypto, look at Ethereum. Ethereum is crossing over, like I mentioned, on the 4 hour chart, looking very good here with this crossover. 4 hour MACD is bullish. I would have liked to have seen some kind of TD7 or 8 on the daily chart. We really didn't get anything here. But it looks like it's trying to reverse, and this would be your W once it confirms. And that gives you a clear path to the upside with clear resistance levels, especially here at 30-day VWAP. This is going to be a big one at 380. An eventual target at 4,300, which takes out a lot of this range. I don't know about anything after that. After that, it gets a bit harder to predict. Originally, I did consider this like a downtrend, like that. Something like this. You could even still say that this is like a bear flag. This was a fake deviation. Or sorry, bull flag. You could say that this is a bull flag. And then this is the, like if we go to a daily chart, right? So if this is A of the move, right? And then this is the pullback, then this is B, which takes you up to 6,500, just short of 7,000. And you know a lot of people are going to be calling for 7,000. That's a big lucky number. So we'll stop short at around 6,500. So that's a potential move for Ethereum. And from here, that gives you almost 100% return. Can't complain about that. Yeah, so Ethereum looks great. XRP holding up very well in this move. I know people are kind of getting interested in this. Weekly chart doesn't look great, so keep that in mind. But you have a TD9 on the daily. It's a big signal. Downtrend still on the weekly chart, but I'm sure if we look at a 4-hour, yeah, 4-hour similar to Ethereum, and actually even more bullish because it broke out and now it's retesting that. This looks, honestly, this looks great. This is your little W here, at least up to 325, which is a nice 50% return from there. And if we use our idea of, go to a weekly chart, right? The problem is this right here is ugly. So I don't know where to, if I wanted to use like an ABCD, where I would run it from, maybe here, and that points to like 450. So almost a double from here. I really prefer Ethereum. I think it's a better chart. But XRP did look strong. Another one is Link, right? So Link, I always like to talk about Link. Link has a TD9 here. No real breakout on a daily chart. It actually broke down. But you do have this TD9. And the 4-hour, similar to Ethereum, looks like it's trying to break to the upside. It actually looks almost exactly like Ethereum. See that? I'm going to move up to 20 at the 365-day VWAP. Next is 244, and then you can see if we can go higher than that. Pull back quite a bit. Looks like it's trying to W out here, so that's another one to consider. I mean, basically all of crypto, right, is trying to W here, and stock market also kind of trying to reverse, as we talked about. And that's kind of the name of the game, right? We had the crash. Everyone got upset. Everyone lost money. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people got liquidated. I think that I don't see the euphoria that I'm looking for. I mean, with retail traders, they were up quite a lot in the stock market. So maybe we don't get that much performance from the stock market, but I'm leaning towards crypto should outperform. I'm just wondering what the catalyst would be. All season possible. Scott asked about RIVN. Rivian Automotive. I don't know anything about this. I see why you're asking about it, because it pumped a bunch. I mean, it's in a range, and you're asking about it when it's at the top of the range. I would, if you want to buy it, wait till it's at the bottom of the range, like 1150 or something, and then you can sell half at the top of the range, and then hope that it breaks out and you get the other half. Otherwise, it's not that interesting to me. Another one is Meta, right? So I didn't talk about Meta too much, but Meta sold off a lot. And if we look at a daily, again, on the daily, there's no TD7, no TD8. That's what concerns me. I want to see that. We did almost get the gap fill, so I want to see this gap fill at around 600. There's another gap at 550. Doesn't look great down here. This looks like this could continue for a bit. So I would be careful on Meta. I mean, obviously, if the rest of the market rallies, Meta should too. But I would keep an eye on it because I think it's coming into some good buying opportunities. And if you don't think the entire market's going to explode in the next like couple weeks, this could be a decent trade simply because I personally think Meta's working on some very interesting things that could change the future of the planet from a technology perspective, obviously. So I'm watching it closely. What else? What else? Is there anything else? I think that's kind of it, guys. I don't have anything else really for now. just this is the plan. If we can W out here, we're gonna follow this path. It's gonna be something like this, okay? But if we don't and we reject, then we're going down to 99K, maybe 98.5 at the most, and then we're gonna bounce. Just be ready if that happens, and understand that it's not going lower than that. It's just not gonna happen, okay? It's not. I don't. You guys can call me a terrible trader or whatever you want if that happens. And if that happens, it's all over anyway. It's not that's the real damage. Right now, it's salvageable. It is salvageable. This weekly did not die yet. Okay? As long as this is still holding on, there is hope for this thing. But don't expect Bitcoin to go to like $1 million. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna get this divergent high, and that's gonna be the last one. Zcash, just any rips, just short it. You know, all coins eventually go down. I wouldn't. I would not. I don't want a long Zcash. Okay, I would. It's pumped, and I would look to get short on that on the next pump. That's what I would do. I'm not really interested in it. I think people are only talking about it because it's up so much as usual. I don't like talking about names when they've pumped this much. You can see here 8.77 tagged and 16.8 is next. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's still in an uptrend, right? Weekly is overblown big time. This could go higher. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, but I would not. I can't recommend anything with this. I don't even know what to say. It's way beyond any kind of acceptable level for buying, in my opinion. Like your buys were here. This was your cross on the daily. You would have gotten in at like $35, $40, and then you got a 10x. Or, I mean, maybe it's hype, maybe it's not. Maybe it goes to $5,000. I have no idea. But what I do know is you don't buy an altcoin up here when everyone's talking about it. You short it, or you sell it, or you just wait for divergence and then you short it. You don't buy it when it's at all-time highs. Just like investing 101. Don't do that unless you hate money. Like it just doesn't make sense. So don't buy it. Otherwise, you're taking a huge risk. This could easily just nuke here, and then you're down 50%, and it could still be in an uptrend to do that. Like that can happen. If you're interested in it, wait till it comes into some kind of support, which is down here like $400. That's all I can say. You get here, and then you buy it. It'll probably make some kind of head and shoulders top, and then roll over, something like that. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. I think that's it. You guys know my theory on everything here, and hopefully we have a much greener week next week. I think it's gonna happen. There's too many bears out there still. It's not time to just throw in the towel on everything. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Human biomass. Exactly. All right. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I will post the show summary once I get back from the gym. I have to hurry to the gym now.